I spent 25 years building other people's businesses. I started on the early commercial web in 1999. Websites, CRMs, funnels, automations, stuff that makes a company look like it has its act together. And the better I got at that, the more stuck I got. Now, if you're the person that everybody calls when something needs to get built and your own thing still needs you in the chair, stick around. This is that conversation. Now, if I ask you what you do, you'd probably tell me the whole menu. I'm the web guy. I'm a funnel guy. I'm the GoHighLevel person. I do ads. I do automation. I do whatever the client just asked for. Now, here's the question I want sitting in your head for the next 8 minutes. What if the thing you're best at is the thing keeping you there? Not because the work is bad, because the identity is small. Now, I didn't set out to become a service menu. I set out to build things. That's the part I actually like. You give me a messy business and I can see the shape of it. Where the leads come in, where the follow-up dies, what should happen after somebody raises their hand and usually doesn't. 1999 was websites. Then it was the agency years. Shipping the work, running the profit and loss. Most shops are either marketers who don't write code or developers who never sit on a sales call. I was on both sides of that for a long time. People paid me to make it real. GoHighLevel builds, CRMs, conversion sites. Later, AI receptionists, and the follow-up that nobody was doing. Client work, Upwork, retainers. Can you just hop on and fix this? The bills got paid, and that's not a small thing. I still respect that. That work is why I'm sitting here and not starting from zero. But something settles on you when that's all you are. You become the guy who can do it, then you become the guy who should do it, then you become the guy who can't not do it. Because if you step away, the whole thing gets shaky. Now, I know that version of me. He can build anyone's system. He just can't leave his own. Now, I live between the US and the Philippines. People hear that and they think freedom, location, Wi-Fi, laptop. And some days that's true. Some days it's just a longer leash. Because if the business is you, the country doesn't matter. You just brought the chair with you. Now, that's the part I had to look at. I wasn't stuck because I picked the wrong software. I wasn't stuck because I needed one more skill. I was stuck because I had settled into an identity that was easy to sell and hard to leave. Web guy, agency guy, implementation guy. The person you hire when you already know what you want and you just need it built. That identity pays. It also keeps you on the tools until you're 70, wondering when the business was supposed to start. Now, Freedom Architect is the name I put on the other side of that. Not a rebrand for fun, a line in the sand, and I am not the menu. I am the person who sees the whole thing and then decides what gets built, what gets automated, and what still needs a human, a system, not a scramble. Something your team can run without you in the room. The academy, the YouTube, the bigger engine that comes later. I'm not going to pretend I'm not building that. But I'm also not going to stand here and sell you a program. This video is about the identity because nothing else works until that's honest. Now here it is, one thing. You are not what you bill for. Okay, the menu is how you got paid this month. It is not who you are, and it's a terrible description of the problem you actually solve. Now, when you lead with the menu, you get menu work. Okay, they hire the website, they hire the funnel, they hire the CRM, they hire the GHL build. They do not hire the person who can see why none of those things are working together. Then they come back in 6 months because the thing you built is sitting there doing nothing. And they want you to hop on again. See, that's the loop. Okay, the loop feels like a business. It's just a job with invoices. Okay, the people who get out of it don't get out by adding another service line. They get out by telling the truth about who they were before they settled. Before you were the tool person, you were the person friends pulled aside, not to hire a vendor, but to ask the thing that they couldn't put on a scope of work. Now, what do I actually build first? Why did the CRM we already paid for not stick? Where's the money leaking? You weren't charging for that yet. You look at the mess and say, oh, don't pick a tool, map it. That's closer to the real work than anything on your sales page. Now, I'm not telling you to quit client work. I still do work that pays the bills. That's the today business. You'd be stupid to set that on fire because a YouTube video told you to follow your heart. I'm telling you to stop introducing yourself as the thing they can put on the invoice. Because as long as that's the identity, you'll keep getting hired for that. And you'll keep being the system. Now, if this is you, I want just one of two things. Comment the word map under this video. That's it, M-A-P. I read all these comments. Or if you want to talk it through, there's a 20-minute architecture call. Link in the description. I'll draw the shape of your business with you. I won't pitch you a program. If we get to the end and you want help going further, we can talk about that then, not before. That's the whole ask. Now, don't go rebuild your website this week. Don't add another offer to the menu. Just sit with the question. What do people actually pull you aside for when they're not trying to hire a vendor? That's closer to the business than anything you're billing for. So I'll see you in the next one.